Well, we're halfway through August and there's some new developments in film and movie watching. First of all, the DOJ pushed to dissolve the Paramount Consent Decrees. 20th Century Fox lost its Fox. AMC is struggling to stay solvent and sign some significant deals. And a giant in media has left us. Hi, I'm Rob, and this and more, all here on A Constantly Racing Mind. Okay, let's start with the Paramount Consent Decrees of 1948. So back in the early days of Hollywood, before government regulation, there were no laws concerning labor or contracts for good or for ill. Most actors were hired on contract to a studio, and the studio basically owned them. However, that is not what we're here to discuss. We are here to talk about whether film studios should buy land and own their own theaters. What that meant was that Paramount had theaters, Columbia and RKO had theaters, United Artists and Warner Brothers had theaters, 20th Century Fox and MGM had theaters. Only Paramount films were shown in Paramount theaters. Only Warner Brothers films were shown in Warner Brothers theaters. And of course, Fox, 20th Century Fox films would be shown in their own theaters as well. So if you wanted to form your own company, you'd be foolish because you couldn't find theaters to show your movies. The U.S. Justice Department decided that the system interfered with free trade. So in 1948, the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark decision in United States versus Paramount Pictures, the studios had to divest themselves of their exhibition holdings. By the way, theater owners are called exhibitors. Perhaps that is a term that also needs to go as well. Let's see. So like I said, if you wanted to start your own film company and start making your own films, great, but where were you going to show them? Once again, theaters only showed their own studios' movies. At the heart of the Supreme Court case was the Sherman Antitrust Act and their total control over movie distribution and exhibition. In other words, it was a monopoly. So after the decree, what happened was that movie stars such as John Wayne, Burt Lancaster, and many others formed their own production companies and could get those films shown in theaters. The second consequence is that film distribution became a big part of the movie business. Studios need to hire outside companies to distribute their films through theaters and to promote them. Thus, the distribution company was born. A film was produced by one company and another company distributed it. This allowed for another type of cheating. A good example of this is Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, produced by Lucasfilm but distributed by 20th Century Fox. The criminality happens when the cost to distribute a film cuts into the profits of the film so much that cast members are owed a percentage, and due to quote-unquote was a loss on paper. So actors like David Prowse as Darth Vader is a good case in point. So on August 7th, the U.S. Justice Department discontinued the Paramount Consent Decree. Studios can now own theaters. Why did the Justice Department do this? Well, to get to this point, the decision comes at a time when Netflix and Amazon, which are not studios but are in fact exhibitors, are buying landmark theaters in LA and New York City. Because of the pandemic, so smaller theater chains are in financial distress and are selling their properties. It's because AMC and Regal theaters are reluctant to exhibit Amazon and Netflix's original movies, and they kind of need that to get into the Oscars. And theatrical moviegoing has been in somewhat of a decline. I started following the trend during the Great Recession, and there are many reasons for this downward spiral. Will Netflix and Amazon buy more theaters at bargain prices? Will traditional studios such as Warner Brothers do the same? A film with a budget of $100 million can have a distribution expense of another $100 million. But if a studio can put its movies into its own theaters, those distribution expenses become significantly lower. Of course, no one's going to theaters these days. But on August 20th, AMC plans on reopening, but with a new paradigm for theater goers. AMC has announced that it will open 100 of its over 600 U.S. theaters next Thursday, August 20th. As part of the promotional celebration AMC Centennial taking place this year, all tickets on opening day will be sold for 15 cents plus sales tax. Now, the 15-cent pricing promotion called Movies in 2020 at 1920 prices will be paired with social distancing measures, keeping auditoriums at significantly reduced capacity. Other safety protocols are detailed in the link below. This is all part of AMC's Safe and Clean program. Now, these include a mask requirement for staff and guests, except when eating, of course, cashless transactions, a temporary hold on popcorn and Coca-Cola refills, and a simplified menu. I'll put a link in the description to the theaters that are going to open. Additional promotions AMC plans to launch at reopened theaters include a $5 titles on repertory movies, $5 concession deals, and double points on tickets and concession purchase for AMC Stubs loyalty members through the end of October. Now, because of AMC's $561.2 million loss in its quarter 2 earnings, and to recover from the pandemic financially, they made a recent deal with Universal Pictures. Now, the deal gives Universal the right to shift any of its releases to Premium Video On Demand, or PVOD, platforms following a 17-day theatrical exclusivity window in theaters. The specific length of each film's theatrical exclusivity will differ depending on the title. The agreement grants AMC a share of PVOD digital rentals once a film title is available for consumers online. Now, movie titles will stay in AMC locations even after the availability on PVOD, and the price point will likely be the same as Disney's Mulan, which will be a $29.99 price point. Remember, Disney is foregoing theater release and just monetizing its film on its own exhibition platform. Times are a-changing. And for the 20th Century Fox losing the Fox branding. As I talked about before, it was one of the big 6 major American film studios for over 83 years. It was formed from the Fox Film Corporation merger and the original 20th Century Pictures in 1935. Now, Disney says that the logos won't be dramatically altered, just updated. The most notable change is that the word Fox has been removed from the logo. Otherwise, the signature elements, swirling, Klieg lights, monolith, triumphal fanfare will all remain the same. On August 11th, media mogul Sumner Redstone died at the ripe old age of 97. He was the majority owner and chairman of the board of the National Amusement Theater chain, which in turn he was, and his family is, the majority voting shareholders of its subsidiary of the mass media conglomerate Viacom-CBS, and is the parent company of the Paramount Pictures Film Studio, the CBS Television Network, and various cable networks. Before 2016, he was the executive chairman of both CBS and Viacom. When he resigned, Les Moonves, Julie Chen's husband, took over CBS, and Philippe Douaman at Viacom. As we all remember, Moonves was forced out of CBS in 2018. In 2019, Sherry Redstone became the board's chairperson for the reuniting of CBS and Viacom as Viacom-CBS. Well, that was quite a bit to cover. I hope you found the video both informative and entertaining. So make sure you share your comments about the content of this video. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like or the thumbs up, and if you didn't like it, slam the thumbs down. Subscribe if you did and ring the bell to get notified when my videos come out. And take care.